In today's episode of the podcast, I'm sharing with you 4 knitting-centered websites that you definitely need to know about, plus one bonus website that's not so much a knitting-centered website as it relates to the craft of knitting, but as it relates to knitwear that I think you're going to find really interesting. The fact that it even exists is really quite something, and I'm going to share that with you at the very end of the episode. So if that sounds like just your cup of tea, get cozy and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I will be your host. Today, I want to share with you 4 websites that I feel like you definitely need to have bookmarked on your browser or just know about them in general if you are a knitter of any ability level. These are websites that are great places to go and resources for those times when you want to add your own unique flair or spin to a design that you are either creating on your own, or you want to add your own little spin to a design that is already written. If you are putting yourself in the driver's seat of your knitting and you want to be able to add your own individual style, these are a couple of websites that might help you do that. And I definitely think you need to have these, like I said, saved in your browser. And I want to get into that with you guys today, but I also want to mention that at the end of the episode, I'm sharing with you a website that I kind of happened across just because, I came across this in the research for this video. It's not really related to being a knitter as it is to just knitwear in general. And I thought it was kind of fascinating that it existed, and I want to share that with you. I also want to mention that one of the websites, if not a couple of the websites that I'm sharing with you here, I will be going into more of a deep dive on those websites over on the Patreon in the next coming days. And so if you're interested in watching me kind of dive into these websites and really see what's going on in them, definitely check out Patreon and see if it's right for you. Because in addition to that, there's lots of other additional content, knit-alongs, and all of that going on over there. And it might be something that you would enjoy. And it's a great way to support the channel and the work that I'm doing here at the Wool Needles Hands podcast. And it's greatly appreciated. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into this. I am going to pull up my screen so that you can see what I see. And we are going to get started just diving right into some of these websites. Now, I will tell you that the first website I am sharing with you today, and I'm going to get this one out of the way pretty quickly, just in case you haven't watched the previous episode of the podcast. This first website is called, the website itself is called Paikin.org, Mosaic Knit, /Mosaic Knit /. And what it is, it's a generator website, and it helps you generate your own mosaic knitting patterns. Now, I am going to plug in a clip from last episode where I take you into this website, just in case you're stumbling across my channel for this video primarily. And this is going to give you a little look at what this website is all about. So this is for those of us who want to generate our own mosaic knitting chart, similar to something that you see in this hat here, if that seems like something you would like to try to add a really cool band of color work to a hat like this, this could be a website for you. This hat, by the way, is designed by yours truly, and the pattern is available on Ravelry right now. Link down below. Okay, so I'm going to take it back to, we're going to go back in the past to the last episode of the podcast. And here is where I take you in a little bit to this particular website and show you what this is about, kind of a quick blow by blow. But again, for a more detailed deep dive into this website, head over to the Patreon. Okay, take it away, Tayler from the past. Okay, I'm actually going to pull it up here. It is Paikin.org /Mosaic Knit /. And it says create your own mosaic knitting patterns by Scott Paikin. I discovered this website. It's a way that you can essentially generate your own mosaic knitting patterns. It gives you information on how a mosaic knitting pattern works, things that can be validated to be, things that make a valid mosaic knitting pattern and things that would be erroneous or that wouldn't work with mosaic knitting. It gives you that information. It's really very cool. You can see here it gives you an opportunity for a stitches per pattern repeat. Maybe if you're working with a multiple of 12, you can put in a 12 stitch repeat. Maybe we have 34 rounds of knitting that you need to do. It talks about what a passive color forerun is on this. Click OK. Click OK, and then you can actually generate your chart here. You can give a title. And then you can just start going. You can start building out a chart and seeing how it works and if what you're creating is going to be a valid mosaic chart. I'm just going to kind of mess around here really quick to give you a little bit of an idea of what that would look like. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just really kind of doing this. Oops, not that. Let's just see. Okay, so obviously I haven't, that looks like a face. I just made a face, like a big nose, some 2 eyes and a mouth. Wow. Now, if this were my pattern, there's all these different buttons down here that you can use to help. You can check and see if you can validate that. This is obviously not a valid mosaic knitting pattern, and it tells me right here, 9 invalid runs were found. I click OK, and it highlights, like, obviously this is wrong. And it highlights all the areas where you have a problem with your pattern. You can clear the errors. You can have it give you a random pattern. And this is what's really fun about this, is you can click on random and then you can click on make symmetric and it will create a symmetric pattern. That's really cool. And then if you see something you like, you can go over here to view tiled. And this gives you an idea of what it looks like there. And then you can also click on, let's see if I can't do mosaic. Wait, mosaic tiling requires an even number of stripes. This pattern has 17. Okay. That's really cool. So this gives you an idea of what that would look like as a band of color. That's really neat. And I really like that. And so if I really like that, I can simply share it. It gives me a URL right here. Copy, open a new window, paste, and that shows me my pattern. Because I'm going to tell you right now, coming up with a mosaic knitting chart is not a walk in the park. It takes a little while to understand how to do it and how to make it work for you, because there are lots of rules you have to follow because of the way mosaic knitting works. And so this is fun because it helps to tell you, okay, that doesn't work and it doesn't work because of this. And then you have to go and adjust it. So you're learning a lot about the process of mosaic knitting. And I think that's really awesome. I love this so much. You can start over. It gives you all of this information down here about how to read a chart. I dive into this more over on Patreon. Again, deeper dives, all kinds of things, additional content, head over there if you're interested. But check this out. I'm sending you off with some homework, okay? Go check this out. Play with it if you're interested in this kind of thing. See what you can come up with. I mean, in the very least, just have fun randomizing and symmetricizing your charts, okay? Because that's totally fun. Because I really love when you can have a nice band of mosaic knitting, whether it's the yoke of a sweater or around the body of a hat, anything like that. So what this is doing is kind of just giving you opportunities for bands of, bands of color. I want to see what that looks like. That reminds me of ladybugs. I don't know what that makes me think of. How cool. How cool is this, you guys? I love that website. I feel like it's a great way to have fun with color work, to come up with your own unique charts. And if really all you're doing is using that randomize feature and then making it symmetrical, then that's fantastic. There's a lot that goes into understanding the mechanics of a mosaic knitting chart, understanding where certain stitches go, passive and active stitches, and all of that. There's a lot that goes into it. But that chart gives you kind of an easy way to come up with a really cool mosaic pattern without having to dive into all of that. But there are options there and information there if you do want to dive into that a little further. Okay, the next website that I want to take you to is called chartminder.com. This is where you can generate your own color work knitting charts or, knit and purl knitting charts. It's really pretty comprehensive in terms of coming up with your own knitting charts, whether it's lace, cables, what have you. It helps you to generate those with the tools that it provides on the website. Now there is, I believe, and I'm over here right now, and there is an option. Let's see, I'm my account settings. I want to go to my account settings here. Yes. Okay. So there is a pro option. I am not subscribed to the pro option, and that is great because I'm able to make really cool charts and I don't have to subscribe to the pro option. And please know, I'm not sponsored by any of these websites. I'm just bringing these to your attention based on my own research. Okay. But if you did want to subscribe to pro, okay, so you can get like the essential features for free. You can get for £2 a month or $6 quarterly. You get Chartminder Pro. There's all kinds of features. So you can check that out if that's something that you would be interested in upgrading to Pro. But even if you don't want to upgrade to Pro, I really love what this provides. So if I wanted to do a chart, come up with some kind of a knitting chart, I can start from blank. I can think of whatever my width is going to be of this particular chart in terms of stitches, my height, if it's going to be flat or in the round, if I want to do a color palette or symbols or both, depending on whether you're adding texture and color or you're just adding maybe texture, if I want this to be public or if I want to keep it private. And you can also, what's really cool is you can generate from an actual image. So if you happen to have like a really cool image that's very graphic and you want to see if you can take that image and turn it into a knitting chart, that's a possibility as well. I've never done that, but it is something that you can do. I think you have to be pretty particular about the kind of image that you upload in order for it to work properly, but it is an option. Okay, so I'm going to create, I got to give it a name. Sample. I'm going to be boring. Okay, so here we are. This is the chart editor where you can make your charts. Let's take a look at the basics. And then it walks you through. There's all of these basics that it will walk you through. The controls, this controls what you are drawing on the chart. Okay. You can add more items to your palette. So this is called my palette. This is the toolbar. There's a toolbar up here with basic zoom, undo, and save features. I'm assuming that you get more features if you have the pro version. Overflow toolbar. More options are available in the overflow toolbar. The workspace is where you draw directly in the chart. You can click on grid numbers to modify the entire rows or columns. Okay. All right. So this is what you have here. So you have symbols that you can access. I'm wondering, so if I know that I'm making just a knit purl chart, I know that I only need the knit and the purl. So the purl is the little dot and the knit is an empty square. But if I wanted to add, can I change what that is? Oh, here we are. So I can change the symbol. Okay, so you have all these symbols at your disposal. So if you wanted to take like a written pattern where you've kind of like a text-based pattern and you want to turn it into a chart, you can take the text-based instructions and turn it into a chart by using symbols that correlate with the different stitches that you're doing in your pattern. But let's say, I'm going to get rid of this, by the way. Okay, if we're just doing knits and purls, I'm going to go to my purl right here, and you can start just putting in purls all the way across. And then we can just do alternating. Knitting mode. Oh, and then if you're going to work from your chart, you can go into knitting mode and it highlights the row for you. Next row, previous row. Very cool. I'm going to go ahead and go out of this. I don't know how to do that. Okay, so I've used this before, but I've mostly used this for color work. I've not used this for creating like a knit purl chart or texture-based chart or cables or anything like that, but it is available to you to do that. And in order to log into this, if you want to create an account, you can log in using Ravelry, and you can also use this button right here to add your charts to Ravelry if you want to store them there. So this is called Chartminder. There is a pro version and there is a free version. I have the free version and I have plenty at my disposal. Okay, so you don't need to pay for this, but it is a really excellent app or website, in my opinion, if you are trying to break into kind of customizing your knits or coming up with your own unique details to add to your knits. Okay, this next one I've actually heard a lot about from viewers here on the channel, and it's one that I only started really diving into within the last 6 months or so, and it's called yarnsub.com. It's a website that makes it easier for you to know what kinds of available yarns are out there in order to substitute a yarn that is mentioned in a pattern. If you don't happen to have that yarn or you want something different, it lets you know what are some available substitutions for the yarn that is mentioned in the pattern. And it's really pretty simple. I've been kind of playing around with it the last several days as I've been doing this, and I think it's really cool. So this is what it looks like on the landing page, and you can just type in a yarn here. Let's see. You can type in a yarn here that you have. So I have, for example, Lucky Tweed right here. This is by Campgrounds Woolens, and I'm going to see if this is in the database for this website, Lucky Tweed. Yeah, right here. So here it is. Okay, so it gives me the breakdown for Campgrounds Woolens Lucky Tweed. It tells me what it is, what it's made of, all of this information. It even gives me a little price breakdown. It says that it's kind of medium to more high-priced yarn. And it gives me some filters here that I can use in terms of substituting. So if I know that I want to substitute my Kelborn woolens and I want to make sure that whatever I substitute it with is animal fibers, and I want to avoid synthetic or plant-based fibers, I can unclick on this. I'm going to leave animal derives because maybe a silk blend would be nice. If I want to really make sure this is budget friendly, I'm going to click these back and I'm going to go just like this. I'm going to really limit my filters. And then I'm going to scroll down and see what I have here. And it shows me here, for example, is a company, Bartlett Yarns, Shetlands 2-ply. It's an 88% match. It's budget friendly. The texture of this yarn is also nubby and tweedy. The gauge is 16 stitches per 10 centimeters, and it falls within the suggested range given for the original yarn. The yarn is also made from non-superwash wool. The fiber content is similar. This yarn contains 100% wool. The warmth drape, elasticity, and durability of this yarn is a reasonable match with the original. The yarn also comes in 192 meter balls. However, in this right here, this yarn is more dense. The fabric is likely to be thicker and heavier than with this yarn. This yarn may not feel as soft as the original, and the color styles for this yarn are tweed colors. So it gives you the ways that it matches really well, but then it gives you some pieces of information that might kind of take away from a perfect match, things that you might just want to know when you're subbing it out. So I can keep going through. That one there is my best match. But then I have Salmon's garn. There's some differences, but it's a reasonable match. And I see that the texture of the yarn is plied and it's not nubby or tweedy. You can see it's much more kind of like a worsted spun yarn. It's 100% wool. It may not feel as soft. The warmth, drape, and elasticity and durability of the fibers of this yarn are a reasonable match. It comes in various ball sizes, and color styles of this yarn are solids and heathers, whereas this is tweed, so something to consider. So this is really cool because it's giving me really great options for substituting out this yarn, but it's also telling me where I might find that this deviates a little bit, and it gives me those considerations, which is really cool. And then if you want to purchase the yarn, sometimes it will tell you where you can find it. This one is connected to Lovecrafts. Sometimes it will give you a direct click button that takes you to where you can purchase it. Most of these, though, do not have that. So I would have to go research myself. Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool. I love that. So this is great. This is excellent for those of us out there that really want to just see what is available to us, what other options we have, even like if the most important factor is just your budget. Perhaps this is what you're trying to replace Lucky Tweed with something much more budget friendly. Like we're really trying to, tighten the belt here. Drop it down to $1 sign here and see what comes up. Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool is the best match here at a fantastic budget. And then we have Stitch Please, 100% wool worsted, Hobby Lobby, Knit Picks, all of these things here that really help you to find something similar to the yarn in the pattern, but at a much more budget-friendly option. Or maybe you're in the opposite camp and you want something that's far more luxurious. So we want real high-priced options, okay? Now you do that and you've got Taki yarns, Noro yarns, Joe Sharp, La Mana, Monostel Uruguay, We Are Knitters. These are all your real high dollar Biche Bouche, your real high dollar yarns, right? These are luxury items, small batch dye baths, Plymouth Yarn Company. I wouldn't have considered that, but it's a beautiful yarn. So that's kind of cool. It's just a really great way to see what else is out there. I love this. I've just recently started getting into this, but I highly recommend you have this bookmarked. If you're a knitter or a crocheter or somebody who works with fiber, in general, or I should say yarn, because it's a great place to just learn more about what's out there. You could do this with like all of the yarn in your stash, just so you can learn about more yarns like the ones you already have. I don't know. I think it's great. So definitely keep an eye on that. It is yarnsub.com. Okay, this next one I've just recently discovered. And this is I don't want to say it's a competitor of Ravelry because it doesn't compete, because it is still very small. We don't have a big database of patterns here. The big name designers aren't here yet. But what excites me the most about this website, and I plan on doing a very deep dive into this website over on Patreon, so stay posted. But what excites me the most about this website are the capabilities of the website. This is called Ribblr. Ribblr, I'm going to go down here to the about so that we can read a little bit about what Ribblr is, because I think it's kind of interesting. Okay, what is this? We got a video? What's this? Let's turn the volume up. Can I make this any bigger here? Hold on, I want to see if I can. I can't. Okay. So what I have said, okay, it says here, in over 15 years of crafting and designing patterns, our co-founder Lear has faced many challenges, from not being able to keep track of her progress to time-consuming designing tasks. After speaking to fellow crafters and designers, it became clear that while the crafting community kept growing, the industry hasn't evolved in decades. I echo that sentiment wholeheartedly. It was time for a big change. And when I say I echo that sentiment, I feel like Ravelry, as vast as it is, there are so many capabilities that Ribblr has that I feel like Ravelry should have already. Okay, like I just feel that's kind of just my thoughts on this. Together with her co-founders Sar and Avi, they decided to embark on a journey to revolutionize the crafting world and use technology to empower crafters. And so in 2019, Ribblr came to life. We believe crafters deserve better, so we set out a clear mission: make crafting accessible and empower crafters through innovation. We're working hard towards three main goals: create the best crafting experience, build a home for all crafters, innovate and modernize the crafting industry. Now, one of the things that I think is so fabulous about this is their way that you can they have like their own e-pattern format or template or whatever you want to call this. Similar to an ebook, Ribblr e-pattern is a digital version of your knitting, crochet, and sewing pattern packed with lots of unique features to provide you with the best crafting experience. If you're familiar with Knit Companion, I debated whether or not I was going to do that in this video. It's a fantastic website. I use it. I've talked about it before, which is the only reason I didn't put it in today's video. But if you're familiar with Knitting Companion, this is like Knit Companion. This is like Knit Companion and Ravelry smashed together. All the capabilities of Knit Companion and what you get with Ravelry, except for the fact that this isn't as broad and not everything is on this yet. But it's like you put those two things together. It's a really beautiful marriage of the two sets of features. And then it goes on to talk about the different community aspects of this and a great place for designers. It has a pattern editor built into it. It helps translate patterns for you. It helps create like size color coding. It gives interactive charts to your designs. It's just a really amazing platform with the way that they've innovated all of these different things and built them into the experience. So I want to give you a little bit of an example, but like I said, I'm going to do a deeper dive later. So I have here, I'm going to go to my stuff because I, first of all, stinking love this sweater. How cute is that? I'm not one for the super bulky sweaters, but this one just looks super comfy and cozy. This is the pattern for the roll-up knit-down jumper. I purchased this pattern, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this is kind of the opening to the e-pattern that you have here. If I go up in the top corner, it gives me an option to take a tour, which is what we're going to do on the video over on Patreon. It gives you e-pattern manuals. It gives you the personal journal where you can take photos of your project and leave notes and talk about the status and all of this that goes along with this particular pattern. There are tips. What this does, you can't see it here, but further into the pattern, this makes it so that you have tips featured in the actual e-pattern itself to kind of keep you in tune with like what the pattern's asking of you. Okay, so it's just kind of just giving you those tips. You can change the font size, which I love that for folks who need to be able to see a little bit better. They need the font to be bigger. What I do know about this is that it makes it so that you can color code all the instructions for your particular size. So if I'm knitting a small or a medium here, all of the instructions that are specific to my size, what's going on here? And so if I go to the pattern and find an area where those specific instructions are given for my size, it should be color coded. However, I must have gotten unlucky in this particular pattern. It's not here. So I'm not seeing that specific color coding happening in this pattern. But apparently most patterns are supposed to have that feature where it color codes for you all of the instructions that are specific to your size. What I do see here though is with the pattern instructions, you can cross off things that you've already done. It kind of works like a knitting kind of keeps count for you. Look at photos that are specific to what it's talking about. It shows you the breakdown of the colors. I think this is really, really cool because it just gives you a lot of ways that you can make the whole process a little bit more interactive. If I go up here, I can change everything to metric if I want. So this is a free pattern, which is why we're seeing ads pop up on the pattern, okay? So if you pay for the pattern, you don't see any ads. If it's a free pattern, you're going to see some ads on there. I got to get into this more. I am planning on doing that over on Patreon because I can tell that there are things here that are worth looking into. It's really innovative. It's in its early stages. Again, it's not really a competitor to Ravelry because Ravelry just has so much more right now in terms of available patterns, quality of patterns, all of that kind of thing. But what they're trying to do here on Ribblr is really pretty awesome, especially with this e-pattern idea that they have integrated into their website. I was hoping that the size color coding would work a little better. I might be doing something wrong here. I need to see more about the tutorials and see what I'm missing, but I will be diving more into this because I think this is really interesting and a really cool available option. If you're not on Ravelry, if you want to find something else besides Ravelry or in addition to Ravelry, Ravelry kind of has, I don't want to say like a monopoly, right, on like the knitting community, like in that realm, but it really is kind of the one name that you hear of when you talk about things like that. I know there's Lovecrafts and things when it comes to finding patterns, but really nothing is coming out that's kind of giving Ravelry a run for their money. And I don't know if Ribblr is going to be it, but I really love kind of what they're offering here. So there's that. That's really cool. I'm going to go out of this because I want to show you a little bit about the pattern database here. So I'm going to go back to the home. Now you can look up patterns for knitting, for crochet. It gives you your breakdown and your filters here. So if I do knitting, clothing, I could do the skill level. Let's say we're looking for something with worsted weight yarn, show results. Now, if I look at my results here, let's see, does it tell me how many total results? No. Okay. You can see by looking at this, it's not as diverse in terms of type of project. There are some really cute things here though. Some free stuff that you see mixed in there. Really cute. So I've been noticing some pretty familiar designers popping patterns in over here. I want to see, just to go down all the way to the very bottom, how many pages of... Okay, so this is all I get for this, I guess. It's pretty limited. Okay, yeah, so it's limited in terms of what's available. But again, like I said, I'm interested. I think this is kind of a really cool concept. And maybe, because Ravelry got its start like this too, okay? Back in the early days of Ravelry, it was a lot like this, very limited in terms of what was available and its, you know, features and capabilities and all of that. And I feel like Ribblr is just doing it right in terms of what they're making available, kind of merging the idea of Knit Companion and Ravelry into one. I think that's really cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought that was interesting. If you've used Ribblr or use Ribblr, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be playing with that a lot more because I think it's really cool. Okay, I want to take you to this last website that I think is just more interesting that it exists than anything else. And it has nothing to do with, like I said, the craft of knitting. But let's take a look at it because it's kind of interesting. Okay, this website is called Knit Up. It is a personal knitting factory for anyone, anywhere, deliver in just 3 weeks, starting with an order of 1. Okay, let's, I'm gonna decline the cookies. Okay, it says, we're not your average manufacturer. We fuse modernity and heritage, offering cutting-edge technology and the legacy of a century-old fashion powerhouse. Our creation to manufacturing platform allows you to create statement pieces that rivals even the biggest aspirational brands with no MOQ and a lightning-fast 3-week production lead time. I thought I knew what MOQ meant. Minimum order quantity. All right, so let's talk about what this is. This is really kind of interesting. Try now, literally free to design. Whether you decide to order 1 piece or more, we'll bring it to life. Elevate with knits alongside 500 plus institutions. Don't speak knit. Fully fashion knitwear created to form is the most exclusive and design intensive, sustainable and premium form of apparel production. With Knit Up, you won't need to get a degree in knitwear design. We are the professionals. Now high fashion, sustainable design with minimal waste can be your specialty too. So I feel like part of the purpose for something like this is that it does make for less waste because you're not mass producing these items. You're producing them to order. It's very, I don't know, what is the word for that? Oh my gosh, what is the word for that when you make something to order? Bespoke? That's kind of what this is. It's really interesting. Our design editor enables the visualization of high fidelity production ready designs in real time. Virtual sampling serves as an effective communication tool, allowing you to save time and valuable resources. Not only is virtual sampling free, but it also results in a close to perfect first time sample before proceeding with bulk production. And it gives you more information about this. So it's really kind of cool. So we're just going to try it really quick. This is another one I might want to go down the rabbit hole. Again, this is a whole different ballgame, right? Like we're not knitting our own stuff. But I like where it's going. I like the idea of getting away from mass-produced knitwear and focusing on designed to order knitwear. I think that's cool. I think there's something behind that. Okay, so we're going to do women. They have a women curve option. I want to see about... Let's see, what silhouette am I going for here? Let's do a women's oversized tee. Okay, here we go. Casual and cozy, the oversized tee was made for looks where the goal is drape, drape, drape. It gives me measurements for all of the different sizes. I can change that to customary measurements or metric. We're going to go ahead and do customary. Customize. Okay, so I can choose the fabric that I'm after here. Bliss, which is breathable and comfortable, soft and light. It accepts dyes beautifully, providing bright and rich shades of color. It gives me the washing instructions and the available color palette. It is part of the Better Cotton Initiative, which I love. This is less expensive. And then I can go to a recycled viscose nylon, which viscose is a bamboo byproduct. And nylon. I can do Total Easy Care Merino wool. So this is going to be a superwash wool of some kind. Oh no, I want to go back. I'm not done. Where's my, oh, for Pete's sakes. What did I do? I made a pig's ear out of this. Go back. No, listen to me now. I'm in the middle of something here. I have no time for these shenanigans. Okay. Total Easy Care Merino. Specified products can be tumble dried. No color change or color bleeding during wash cycles. Biodegradable. Interesting that this is biodegradable. Now, we've had this whole discussion about superwash merino, superwash wool, and whether or not the superwashing process produces a fiber that is biodegradable. There is a lot of research out there and findings that say yes, it does, that it is biodegradable. But there are people out there that will continue to say, and I don't know who is 100% right here, that it is not biodegradable, that the coating on a superwash yarn still remains and all of these things. But I have seen more and more as I've researched this, and I research this often, that it is being shown to biodegrade. Interesting. And it's interesting that it's mentioned here. Comfortable and incredibly cozy, breathable and lightweight, moisture wicking. We all know the benefits of merino. It gives my color palette down here. And look at this. What is the video for? Do I have volume? It's showing you how it moves. It's telling me that it uses merino wool that is 100% natural and biodegradable. So what exactly does that mean? Our fine wool is sourced from merino sheep living on farms in Australia. Merino sheep naturally shed once a year, and when they do, we procure that fleece to give you shiny and soft yet incredibly warm yarn. Our merino wool is made from worsted spun yarns that have been primed with the Total Easy Care treatment. This helps your garments withstand multiple rounds of machine washes without losing their shape, appearance, or quality. Okay, so what is the Total Easy Care treatment? Total Easy Care wool. This is interesting. We're going down a little rabbit hole here, so bear with me. Total Easy Care merino apparel is designed for today's busy lifestyle. Total Easy Care merino garments are all machine washable. For fine gauge knitted garments, which are generally made from worsted spun yarns, the total easy care treatment is often applied at top stage prior to the spinning process. The process consists of an oxidative pre-treatment followed by application of a special polymer which swells during washing and masks the scale. Yeah, it's superwashing, okay? So it's just another form of superwashing and it is considered biodegradable. Total easy care. I'm leaving that in my head. I'm remembering that because I want to research that more fully. That is interesting. Okay, so this is the merino fabric. Wow. Hello, rabbit holes. And then you also have an extra fine merino wool. I'm assuming this one is not going to be total easy care. This is responsible wool standard certified. That is great. This looks like hand wash. Yeah, so we have a natural wool here that is not superwash treated. And then we have the good cashmere. This is part of the good cashmere standard. And let's see. The sustainable cashmere yarn sourced from ethical farms in Inner Mongolia and adhered to the good cashmere standard are crafted with care. The finest fibers of cashmere goats are used and processed meticulously to create a lightweight yet durable product. And this is their range of colors. Like, I mean, this is really interesting. Am I right? Because you can essentially create, I'm going luxe here with the cashmere. You can kind of create your own garment and it just feels better because it's just being made for you to order. Now, I'm sure lots of people are doing this, so there's lots of production happening, but it's not like they're producing a whole bunch of something, not knowing whether it's going to sell, and then a ton of it ending up in like a landfill somewhere, right? I think it's cool. All right, so I can apply a graphic. Any graphic? Oh my heavens, look at this, guys. You can select like how much you want the pattern to repeat. Oh my goodness, there's lots. I'm going to be diving into this. We're going to be diving into this. This is awesome. Okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Yep, got it. We don't have time for this right now. Very cool. Loving it. I'm loving it. All right, can we do this? I learned fast. Okay, this is really neat. You can add a graphic from like a photo and put it on your design, and then you can add color. I'm going to add some color. I'm loving orange on the front panel. I want the back panel also to be orange. I want the sleeves to be this color. I want the right sleeve as well to be this color. I want my neckline or my trim to also be this color. Look at that. How cute. This is adorable. I'm done. Now what do I do? Now, what do I do if I'm done? My size. I'm kind of curious what's happening now. Oh, continue. Okay, now I have to select my size. Okay, so I've created my garment. Now I select my size. I'm going to select a small. There's my small. $257 for my bespoke, nice, luxurious cashmere oversized tee. I could add that to my cart, but it's not in the budget. But I mean, come on. For a really nice cashmere tee like that, $257, I mean, that's expensive, okay? But it's cashmere. And I think this is really, really cool, especially considering that you can add your own graphic to it. That is so neat. What's my 3D rendering? Oh, that's just what this is. I mean, come on. I think that's so cool. You even have like you can create your own collection. I don't want to do this right now. You can create a collection. I haven't created a collection yet. Oh no, I did. I did this one when I was playing around. So you can create a collection of garments. How fun is that? And then you can go in there. These are the ones I really love and send the link to people and they can buy you presents. I don't know if you should do that, but I think this is really cool. Let me know what you think about this. Isn't this kind of wild? I love it. So it's knit up, home.knit. Wait, no, I think it's just knit up. If I go back to the home.knitup.io. And I think that that's really cool. Well, there you have it, folks. That's 5 total websites to pique your interest. 4 of those are knitting specific. One of those is just kind of fun. And I definitely think you should play around with it because it's really cool. I am not sponsored by anything, just letting you know. The only people that sponsor me are the fine folks over on Patreon. All of this stuff is just stuff that I found via my own research that I thought you would find interesting. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section if you've used any of these websites. And if you would like to see more deep dives into a couple of these, I definitely plan on diving deeper into Ribblr. I want to mess around with this KnitUp website a little bit more because I think it's really fascinating. And then the other Chartminder, I'd like to do some chart making and see what kinds of things come of that. But I am going to be doing some deep dives in the very, very near future. So head over to Patreon, see if it's right for you. And if you do decide to stay and become a patron, thank you so much for your support. In the meantime, folks, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.